get going right away. Alright, so I think this is where we left off last time. Okay. So same text, Guru Vachaka Kovai. I want to go into, we'll start at this verse 836 here. And then we'll see if there's more in the cards for today. Alright. So verse 836 says, after we have renounced whatever can be renounced, that which abides and cannot be renounced is true being shining in the heart, the flood of bliss. This reminds me of this thing from Huang Po, the Zen guy. Whatever is being perceived is not what is perceiving. And Nisargadatta used the same thing. Whatever is being perceived in the experience here is not what is perceiving. So whatever can be perceived or seen, let's say, or whatever you're aware of, you're obviously, that's not where you are or where you start, because there's an awareness of it, yeah? So if you're aware of all of the thoughts going through your head, obviously what you are must be before as being what is aware of the thoughts going through your head. You see? What the thing about the contents of experience, like the body and the mind, if they're listened to, this fact, let's say, wouldn't even come up, because from the point of view of what you're aware of, the mental system, it does not see. It sees only from its own eyes, let's say. But when it's pointed out to you that you're aware of the mental system, so there must be an awareness of it from before it, it seems quite obvious. But if you're listening to the head, the mental system does not see the obviousness of that because you're looking from it. So if you're being directed by the mental system and all of its thoughts and anxieties and whatever's going on in the mental system, you're completely being driven by that or directed by it. And it will only see from its own eyes, you see. That's the self-centeredness. And so a message like this points something out. After we have renounced whatever can be renounced. You can only renounce or let go of your grip of something if you're not it, firstly. But secondly, if you're aware of it. If you're aware of something, you must be the awareness of that thing. Or non-thing, but let's just say thing for now. So if you're aware of the mental system, there must be an awareness of it, which means you would be sitting before what you're aware of. If that's the case, then there's a opportunity that you don't have to grab onto and live as what you're aware of. So you can see all of the thoughts. You can see the ideas of being in bondage or getting free or whatever. And you can see the thought me. Yeah? There's an awareness of that from before it. That's like the whole thing, I feel. Yeah? If you're living as what you're aware of, if you're living as the mental system, it's got you as a separate body, separate from all other bodies. If you stay in the awareness and you don't listen to or go with that mental system, then that idea starts to get negated on its own. So whatever is being perceived is not what is perceiving. Means that whatever is being perceived, in order for it to be perceived, there would need to be a perception of it. You are the perceiving. It's like our nature is the perceiving. That field of awareness, perceiving. It is perceiving what you call you as a body. Yeah? That's the whole thing. You as a body sees yourself as separate. This here, that there. That's the sense of duality. From before that, there's not a duality. It's all pervaded by what's aware of it. So the awareness that's aware of this body and brain, and that same field of awareness is what's aware of the wall, or the bike, or the plant, or whatever, the computer you're looking at. Yeah? So in order to be able to renounce something, or not grasp at something, or not live as something, we must be before it. Yeah? So after we have renounced whatever can be renounced, which is the whole experience, by the way, of J, all the thoughts can be not grasped onto. All of them. Even the thought me or I. Yeah? So after we have renounced whatever can be renounced, that which abides, so that which is left and cannot be renounced, is true being shining in the heart. So you can't renounce what you are. You can only renounce what you're aware of. And the only way to sit back into that, or abide into that with the big T, or the big S self, would be the negation of what you're aware of. Because J cannot become aware of the big S self. That doesn't happen. The awareness of J is already a done deal. So the realization, if there was one, is through the negation of being J. It's through the not grasping on to the mental system of J that you sit back and abide in what you already are, which is the exact peace and whatever you're looking for, yeah? So after you've renounced whatever is perceived, which is all the thoughts and ideas, including the thought me, that which is left, I think Ramana says, what remains. So what remains when that renunciation happens, and cannot be renounced, that's your true being, let's say, in the heart. So whatever you're aware of can be renounced or negated as what you are, and in so doing, you will be there. But the thing is, right after you abide as that, and then the head will come back online and claim that I am that. How could I say? The mental system will claim to be awareness almost right away. It'll immediately claim, because it claims everything that's going on, the thought system, or the system of me, let's say, the sense of individuality. The character of J will claim to be awareness almost right away. Yeah? So it's like J never gets it. J doesn't get this. You see that you're not J. Yeah? Or whatever your name is. You see that you're not that. Whatever name's given to the body. You just constantly see that you're not that. But there's not a day when J gets this. That doesn't happen. Because the awareness which J is trying to become, that is already our nature. So J cannot become that awareness. That awareness is always there. That's why when you negate J, or whatever your name is, when that gets negated, you abide as what is left, which would be your nature. So whatever is being perceived is not what is perceiving. Another way to say that would be whatever is being heard is not what is hearing. And you can hear the idea of the hearer. You can hear that. Yeah? You can hear the body through sensation. You can hear sounds. You can hear the world through the eyes. Whatever is being heard is not what is hearing. You can hear your head going off all day long. So obviously, that head which is being heard is not what is hearing. And then the question is, who is hearing all of this? And then your head goes, me, but you're obviously hearing that as well, so you must not be that me. And then what remains before the mental system comes back in and then claims yet again, oh, I am the absolute awareness, let's say. So that first points that thing out. What is being perceived is not what is perceiving. After we have renounced whatever can be renounced, which by the way is all of J. The whole life of J can be renounced. Which brings up the great question, whose life is this anyways? Yeah? So after we have renounced whatever can be renounced, that which abides and cannot be renounced is true being. It's great news. It's kind of like in recovery where they say self-reliance will always fail you. So from that program standpoint, relying on the thought system will always fail. So if there's something which is relying on something else, what's being relied on is obviously not what's before it. So I was relying on the mental system and I was failing constantly. I'd always end up drunk again and again and again and again. You see? Drunk again. Self-reliance will always fail you. This is what they say in the literature of the 12-step program. If I'm relying on the mental system, I'm going to fail. Whether that be drinking or relationships or this and this and this, because that mental system is conditioned to see the world in a weird way because I'm an alcoholic, you see? So reliance on the thought system obviously doesn't work. That's the point of that. If I'm relying on Jay's ideas, this is going to go badly. And then through a great quantity of research, that is true. That's exactly what's gone down. Yeah. So to me, that's like a beautiful, it's very direct. And so is whatever is being perceived is not what is perceiving. Because you can see the head trying to make moves all day, trying to get this or saying it doesn't get this, or being completely addicted to trying to get this spiritual thing, and on and on and on. You can see that happening. This is saying you can renounce that. And then the 12-step program is just going straight to the gut of it and just straight saying any reliance on self will always fail. It's great because it's so clean. It's not like you have to do all these different steps. It's very direct in a way. And that's very good for a brain like this one because my head likes to go off. So if there's only one answer, it's great. It can't really run down the road that far unless it's listened to, and then it will run this life riot. Yeah. Wow. So whatever is being perceived is not what is perceiving. And then let's go on to let's go 842, this verse here. The false division of the mind as my mind and as yours, this is the origin of bondage. One single mind alone there is, the clarity and strength of one supreme awareness. See how it's very direct in a way. The origin of bondage is the false division. False division meaning not true division. Yes? Or the illusory division of this mind and that mind. So that is happening in the experience of the mental system. There is a sense of J here, and there's a sense of that there. This has different experiences than that. This views the world differently than you do. Yeah? That is happening. The only thing that this is saying is that's not where you start. That event of J can be not grasped onto. I don't have to live as that presentation of separateness. The false division of the mind as my mind and your mind, that's the origin of bondage. Because that's the bondage of self. Meaning I am bound, if I'm listening to this J-ness, to all the views of J, and you are bound to all the views of you. That gets very uncomfortable because these views are at ends, because this is a dualistic experience. Yeah. So that's why this is the point of bondage. It says one single mind there is alone. Now in Chan Buddhism, they call that big M mind, like your nature. Except they would say that it's void or empty. And in Indian ideas, they would say more it's the Brahman. Yeah? So they would say more so maybe like it's wholeness, whereas in Buddhism they would say it's void. But it's the same thing, big M mind. Two different views, you see? Two different views. I'm not going to get into the metaphysical views of it, but from my limited understanding, the Buddhist view of mind is complete emptiness, whereas, depending on the school of Buddhism, whereas in India they would see it as complete wholeness, and it's the same thing, so it doesn't matter what you say. but there's one single mind, meaning the awareness which you let go into, let's say, not the you, but the awareness which, when everything else is renounced, you sit back into, is one mind. So you don't sit into a separate awareness that I do. Yeah? One mind. And the cause of bondage is the illusory false division of this mind here and that mind there, or this body here and that body there. The falseness is that it's illusory, but it's an event that's definitely taking place right now. And then that next verse, which is 8:43, says, there seem to be as many eyes, like I, the letter I, as there are bodies. So when your head says me or I, it looks at this body. Yeah? When I say I, when there's a thought I happening, it's representing being this body. But in truth, they are all one I, the big S self alone. So this body and that bike do not exist without the existence of space in which they arise in. So really, who is thinking all of those thoughts? And then the head goes, I am. Yes? But the I am is one of the thoughts. And it presents this body as the doer of those thoughts. But who's really thinking those thoughts? If all of the I thoughts are the big S self alone, then all of this activity must be the activity of the big S self. Call it Shiva or Buddha or whatever you want. But there's no doer of this movement here. This would be the movement of the big S self, and then the head goes me, and then it feels like I'm doing all of this, yes? But that would be the false division of the mind as my mind and your mind. That's beautiful stuff. Because it lifts all the pressure off of this system. The self-centered pressure of the head, which is constantly saying, I have to do this right, and everything has to fall into place correctly. Yeah? The false division of the mind as my mind and your mind, this is the origin of bondage. So in recovery, they'd say the bondage of self. And then they would say self-reliance will always fail you. So relying on that elusive presentation of the individuality of J will always fail this system. Because there's a sense that I'm doing that thinking of J, yet the operation is just kind of taking place. But with that thought me, presenting as this body here, and that thought you, presenting as that body there, if you listen to that, you're tied to it. And it's in then you're in bondage to whatever the conditioning of that system, this system is going to do. Yeah? So something can happen in the world, my head will take that to be my fault. Because one, it's super self-centered, but two, from the abuse I did as a kid, the head sees everything as as my fault. So if that's not renounced as what I am, then I am now abiding by the mental system's view that everything is my fault. When most of the time it's not. Actually, most of the time I don't even have anything to do with it, but the head has put me in that position. That's the bondage of the self-centeredness of the mental system. That bondage can get crazy uncomfortable. Yeah? So we want to get out of it. But this and recovery say that it can be renounced, which means I must not be that conditioned idea. I must not be that conditioned mental movement. If you can put something down, obviously that's not what you are. I can put this book down, so obviously I'm not the book. The book says you can put the thinking down. That means I'm not the thoughts. It says you can put the body, you don't have to grab onto the body. You can put that down as what you are. Wow. Well, what about me? Well, that me thought, you can put that down too. That's an amazing solution. Because in many ways it's done. Yeah, it's just that the mental system is addicted to itself, so that addiction needs to be quit. And you can quit it with self-inquiry. Like you quit any addiction. The addiction to the thoughts would be like the primary addiction, yeah? Self's addiction to itself would be like the primary addiction. All the other addictions are because of that one. Now the other addictions need to be calmed down first before the one to the head can be looked at, but that's for the story of recovery, I suppose. All right. Beautiful. If there's any questions or something, please feel free to put them in the chat. Yeah. So we'll give it a minute for that. If anybody wants to type something out, feel free.